I'm your host, Realtor Laura Navarro, and today we're diving into the incredibly exciting world of buying Mexican real estate with absolute confidence. If you've ever daydreamed about waking up to the sound of crashing waves in Cabo, Cancun, or literally anywhere along the stunning coastline, well, you are in the exact right place. We're going to demystify the whole process so you can finally turn that dream into reality. So let's get right into it. You've probably heard the rumors whispered in expat forums or from well-meaning friends. Foreigners just can't own property near the beach in Mexico. Well, let's tackle that biggest burning question right out of the gate. Can a U.S., Canadian, or any other non-Mexican citizen actually buy that beautiful oceanfront villa? The short, emphatic answer is yes, absolutely. But to do it safely, legally, and permanently, there's a very specific system you need to use. And understanding this system is your absolute key to unlocking and protecting your investment. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover the restricted zone rule, exactly what a fideicomiso is, owning oceanfront as a foreigner, the steps to get your trust, and finally, breaking down those costs. Let's kick things off with Section 1, the Restricted Zone Rule, and understanding Article 27 of the Constitution. So, the Mexican Constitution actually restricts direct foreign ownership of land within 50 kilometers, which is about 31 miles, of any Mexican coastline and 100 kilometers from any international border. This vast, gorgeous area is known as the restricted zone. Now, decades ago, right after the Mexican Revolution, this rule was created strictly to protect the nation's borders from foreign invasion. That meant non-citizens simply couldn't invest there. But, as the economy modernized, Mexico desperately wanted to welcome foreign capital and tourism without having to rewrite their entire constitution. That brings us to Section 2. What exactly is a fideicomiso? It really is the ultimate ownership solution. To solve this constitutional roadblock, the Mexican government created a brilliant, completely legal, and highly secure solution, the fideicomiso. It's pronounced fideicomiso. Basically, it's a secure bank trust where a federally approved Mexican bank holds the actual legal title to the property, but you, the buyer, hold all the practical benefits, economic value, and absolute control. Created way back in 1973, this is definitely not some shady loophole. It is the government-sanctioned gold standard for secure coastal real estate investment. In fact, today, over 1.5 million foreign-owned Mexican properties are held this exact way. All right, let's bust the biggest myth right now. I hear this all the time from new clients. They'll ask, Laura, isn't it really just a 50-year lease? No way! This is absolutely not a lease. To call a fideicomiso a lease is like calling a world-class sport fishing trip in Cabo just dangling a string in the water. Think about it. When you lease an apartment back home, your landlord can kick you out, raise your rent, or literally sell the building out from under you. In a fideicomiso, you are the primary beneficiary. The bank cannot sell, modify, or do anything at all to that property without your express written signature. What's incredibly reassuring is just how familiar this concept actually is. If you have a family living trust back in the US or Canada, this legal structure is going to feel right at home to you. The bank merely acts as the trustee. They don't own your property in any meaningful practical sense. They simply hold the paperwork to satisfy that constitutional requirement. You are the ultimate beneficiary, calling all the shots and reaping all the rewards of homeownership. Moving right along to Section 3, owning oceanfront as a foreigner and all of your rights and protections. As the beneficiary of this trust, you retain all the exact same rights you'd expect as a traditional homeowner. You can live in it full-time. You can sell it to a Mexican national or another foreigner literally whenever you want. You can rent it out on Airbnb and keep every single peso of the income. You can knock down walls to build that master suite you've always wanted, provided you follow local zoning rules, of course. And wonderfully, you can list substitute beneficiaries right in the trust deed. If you pass away, your kids or heirs take over automatically. That means your family completely bypasses the massive headaches, delays, and costs of the Mexican probate court system. Now, your trustee is technically granted for a 50-year term, but please do not panic. It is indefinitely renewable. You absolutely do not lose your property at year 51. The 50-year term simply refers to the government permit granted by the Secretariat of Foreign Affairs, also known as the SRE. When you approach year 50, your trustee bank notifies you, you pay a standard administrative fee, and boom, the permit is renewed for another 50 years. This process can be repeated forever. It's entirely designed to protect your investment for generations to come. Okay, Section 4, the practical steps to get your trust, providing a clear path to ownership. The process is actually way smoother than you might think. It generally takes about 4 to 8 weeks from start to finish. First, you make your offer and sign a promissory contract. Next, you and your real estate team select a trustee bank and a notario. From there, your formal application goes to the federal government for your SRE permit. While we wait a few weeks on that, a full, comprehensive title search ensures the property is completely free and clear of any liens. Once the SRE permit arrives, you wire the funds, sign the final deed, register the property, and officially pop the champagne. The absolute most crucial person in this entire timeline is your Notario Público. Unlike in the US or Canada, where a notary is often just an employee at the local bank who stamps documents for $5, a notario in Mexico is a highly specialized, government-appointed attorney with semi-judicial authority. They are legally liable for the transaction. They pull the lien certificates, ensure the seller's property taxes are current, collect the acquisition taxes, and legally validate the entire deal. They act as a neutral third party and are your ultimate heavy-hitting safeguard in Mexico. Almost at the finish line, Section 5, breaking down the costs, looking at initial setup and those recurring investments. So, for the one-time initial setup of your fideicomiso, expect a budget somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 US. This breaks down into two main parts. First is the federal government SRE permit, which generally runs roughly $1,000 to $1,700. The second part is the trustee bank's initial acceptance fee, sitting between $500 to $1,000. Just keep in mind, this specific $2,000 to $3,000 bracket is a one-time setup cost paid only at your closing. When you're budgeting for your big purchase, plan for your total closing costs to land somewhere between 7 and 10% of the property's purchase price. Now, a really large chunk of that actually goes towards standard acquisition taxes and those notario fees we just talked about. Those are expenses that every single buyer, even native Mexican citizens, absolutely have to pay. The fideicomiso setup itself is just a smaller, roughly 30% slice of that total closing pie. Now, after closing, there is a recurring annual administration fee paid directly to your trustee bank. On average, you're going to see this sitting right around $800 a year. Although, depending on the specific bank you choose, the range generally spans between $500 and $1,100. This annual payment covers the bank's administrative oversight, their strict legal compliance with the government, and the ongoing tax representation for your trust. Think of this small yearly fee as your ultimate insurance policy. It actively keeps your coastal property legally sound and entirely secure for generations. And here's a massive pro tip from me to you as a realtor. Put this payment on autopilot, or at least set a rigid calendar alert. If you fall behind on this annual fee, you're going to face pesky late penalties, and it becomes a massive, time-consuming headache that severely slows down the legal process if you ever decide to sell the home or pass the trust on to your heirs. So keep it current. Now that you know how secure, tested, and wonderfully straightforward the fideicomiso process really is, the only real question left is the fun one. Where do you want to buy? This entire banking system was built specifically to give international buyers full ownership rights, incredible legal protection, and a clear, highly regulated path to paradise. You truly can have it all. So what beautiful coastal Mexican city are you ready to call home? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and happy house hunting.